hell, I'm bored. We got 2 hours to go. We make out a little bit. That was good. That was really good.
I think we had some hangar time after that.
Baby, stop.
I mean, where you were
cut this out.
You were instructing me in the hangar.
Take position north to north.
I was instructing.
Baby, please cut this out. Oh my god.
And November 07 Juliet Alpha, you say again.
Baby, cut it. Just do it. Cut it all. Cut it all.
Yeah.
Baby, you're funny. Ready to go?
Oh yeah.
Williston traffic plus. Taking off runway 14, departing to the southwest, Williston.
My final looks
Final
clear.
is clear.
Yeah, Minneapolis Center Scout 4261 at the airport site. Get the visual for 14. Change advice for Scout 4261.
14
I'm going to go for 459er, 6'350 requested. I maintain flight level 350, Delta 459.
Right, crosswind.
That was 4261, 5,200 feet. Running on left downwind for runway 14, Williston.
Train is off. Brief. It is our green, airspeed is live. The wiggly, windy takeoff.
Flight level 180, block 310 for turbo 61 flight.
Looking out for SkyWest on the downwind over there. 5,200 feet. I think he's going to be on that side.
And copy all for turbo 61 flight. Also, there will be another two-shift formation turbo 71 flight. Will be coming in. The same ACA.
Runway 14, departing to the southwest, Williston.
Yeah, he's over on my left.
Opposed to my left.
Yes. Alright, train is now back on. Start turning towards Varner. Direct to activate nav. Climb at 135 knots. I think we got a pretty good clear air here, so we can go for a bit without picking up IFR, but once I get a little higher, I'm going to talk to them. I have 17,000 in the tape, so that's the highest I'll go.
Center Turbo 71, flight is 2 in the block 23 to 240, non-center formation.
Commercial's closed.
Williston traffic, that was 4261.
Alright, I'm switching over to 1.
Center Pilatus off of Williston, IFR to Boise, please.
They're going to be mad because Williston's in the pattern. I'll be super mad. Go heading mode and just go kind of away from the clouds.
Turbo 61 flight is cleared to conduct, to operate within the confines of Cut Bank, Shelby, Bear Paw. Flight level 180, block 310, and switch tactical. Turbo 61 flight. Salt Lake, hello, United 2630, flight level 300, mostly smooth.
Autopilot's on. We're on a heading just to avoid clouds. And we're climbing.
And Salt Lake Center Clear 117, we can go ahead and cancel IFR. Squawk IFR, frequency change approved. Talk to you soon. KR 117, thanks. Hey, Center Pilatus off Williston, looking for IFR to Boise.
Alright, I'll be right back with you off the Williston.
Waiting for SkyWest to cancel. Problem is, they cannot get radio reception on the ground.
De Havilland 994, contact Minneapolis Center 124.25.
I may have to relay for them.
12425 for De Havilland 994. So that's it, that is C521 for heavy, level 350.
ACS blades on auto, PCL set, engine instruments, all look good.
And off of Williston,
Brakes.
is that November?
Affirm.
Salt Lake Center, radar contact 6 miles south of Williston Airport. Cleared to Boise Airport, CS files, I maintain file level 240, squawk 4375, stay altitude.
cleared to Boise as filed. Climb maintain flight level 240, squawk 4375. We're climbing through 10,000 now.
November, Roger. Connie 865, contact Minneapolis Center 124.25.
124.25, Connie 865.
0, negative on the weather yet. I'll let you know when I got it with first clear.
2425, Connie 865, thanks.
One short final runway 14 Willis.
Negative 561 Sierra was checking on flight level 290, letting you know I do not have the weather yet. I'll let you know when I got it.
All right. Ice protection, takeoff. ACS is on auto. ACL set still for full. Engine instruments all look correct. We've got the brakes. Landing gear is up. Yaw damp is on. Flaps are up. Tax landing are off. And we'll turn off pulse as well. Ice protection's probes on light. Inertial's closed. Autopilot's navving on my side at 145 up to 24,000.
United 2630 for military.
ACS is on auto. Cab pressure looks correct. And
2630,
gauges
yeah, we could do
all
32.
good.
Okay,
Waiting
expect
on
that
Barrow
here
at
in
18.
a little bit, it'll be about 5 or 10.
Okay, any ride problems up there?
Occasional light stop reported out there. For the next 5 or 10 minutes, might get some more continuous light stop.
Okay, thank you much.
Center, good morning. Carrier 1020, 90,000.
Carrier 2020, Public Center, good morning. Advise the Sydney weather, Sydney altimeter 2978.
Delay, Carrier 1020.
Wow.
What's ITT for?
Interturbine temperature.
And you're keeping that lower, or it's just lower right now because we're empty?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I've got full power right now, but it's going to continue to heat up. We'll let it go till just under 820, and then we'll bring it back to standard that for the climb.
Got it.
Turbo 61, yeah, this is the right frequency. When you depart,
We're about to go through some ice here, so we'll go ahead
the airspace?
turn on the inertial
We'll
separator,
be heading out towards the east once we exit.
and then once we get into it, we'll turn
Yeah,
the
if you
prop
exit
ice
out
on
this
as well.
direction, this will be your departure, or this will be your exit frequency.
Okay, copy all. We'll be 2685 once we are ready to leave.
Okay, and when you're ready to leave, are you going to come out as a flight, or are you guys breaking up at that time as well?
We'll be coming out as two flights.
Okay. My advice then is just when you come out, make sure that each of the two flights are just altitude separated.
And probes are
get you on your way a little bit quicker that way.
Prop is on.
Copy all. We'll work it. Turbo 61 flight. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
And then if you want to just look at the wing for me and tell me when we get a build up there.
Yep. Looking. Alright, we're starting to get some build up.
Okay. A little bit.
You wanna look at it and just see if that's.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
You wait for a little bit more.
I'm going to wait for a little bit more, yeah.
Okay.
And we're also almost through this layer, so I think we actually are probably pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. It helps to know like what standard, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to know because that's something that I think, you know, everybody kind of has their different opinion of it. I'm going to go to standard now because we're almost up to. I can turn all this off now. We're kind of through the layer. But, like, that's ice for sure, but it's, I mean, I would call that trace clear ice.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, you see a little bit there, but it's almost to the point where you look at it and you say, is there even ice on that wing, you know? And it's pretty smooth. There's rime ice, looks like somebody put a bunch of, like, rocks on the front of the wing, you know? So, to me, that's either clear, mostly clear ice, maybe a tiny bit of mixed ice, and it's just, it's so light that I can barely see it, so it's trace. So for that, really, the boots are not even going to do anything, so there's really no point. The thing is, when you use the boots as well, they're going to use the P3 bleed air off the engine, so it's better for me in trace ice just to keep everything efficiently running to the engine, and we can climb faster through it. We're at 19 now, going up to 24,000 feet. I've heard people say, actually that review that I did of a CNN expert that was talking about icing on that Brazil crash, said, oh, you can't really get much ice colder than -20, and I don't really know where they got that information, because I've seen it plenty of times.
601, Salt Lake Center, roger, welcome.
These boots you can only use up to negative 40 degrees. I've seen it in the jet as well. The tail, you know, the boot on the tail has a limit on temperature. But I've been in negative 30 temps and I've gotten ice before, which is kind of wild because up that high it should have sublimated and be not be in a liquid state anymore, really. But it just, ice is one of those things where you just don't know where it's going to be until you're in it. So I don't really know why they thought that under 20 you can't get much ice.
Yeah, it's probably kind of like the COVID thing. Once you sit down, you can't get COVID, so you can take off the mask.
Is that right? That's the science.
According to every restaurant everywhere.
Right. Once you're at a table with 4 people, you don't have access to that virus anymore. Got another little layer here we're going through, so I've got the prop on the inertial backs open.
That you're collecting a little bit more now. I shouldn't say more, I should say just faster.
Yeah. So now we're at negative 30 degrees, and we were still building up ice there.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand that. Oh, yeah, it's not, you can't really get ice colder than negative 20 degrees. I'm like,
well,
okay, well.
You're getting your news from CNN, you probably believe anything.
So now we're at 22,000 feet. The good news is we're over all the clouds, so we're really out of icing conditions. So we're just gonna shut it all off. And that, I would say, is still pretty much trace clear ice. I mean, that's not much. Maybe light. 1 to go, 23, climbing 24. This is the problem with the window mount, is it gets hot.
No.
So I'm trying to do the yoke mounts, but you know how that has gone.
Yeah.
Alright, we're holding 24,000 feet. I've still got basically takeoff power. I cracked it back a little bit so we can stay under 820, but now we're speeding up. We're in the turbulence, which we're going to enjoy for the rest of this 3-hour flight.
Exciting.
Yeah, this actually kind of sucks.
It was pretty smooth coming up here. Does it make sense just to dip down?
Yeah, we will. We'll kind of ride this for a minute, and then if it gets more, we'll go down to like 22.
And plus, we're getting continuous light to moderate turbulence. Can we go down to 22?
Really freaking annoying when they don't answer you and you're like,
I'm just taking a guess. Was that 1 Sierra Sierra?
We're looking for 22,000 for turbulence.
November. Okay, descend and maintain flight level 220.
Descend maintain flight level 220 plus blue.
this is much rougher than it was on the way. See if it smooths out down low. Lower.
By far the best angle we've seen.
Really?
Yeah, because you have the flight controls, and then you have all the glass.
That's awesome.
KLM 601, contact Solid Center 119.75. Good day.
11975, 609, bye-bye.
11975, Delta 2482, phone.
Same way the phone does, right? 1 to go, 23,
Yeah.
descending 20. I guess 24 is trash. Or maybe it was just like a pocket there, but it does seem to be smoothing out a little bit.
Yeah.
We have 2.5 hours left.
Yeah, but you knocked off an hour, so.
Woo!
Yeah, great.
Share 94, got the word and we'll find a gas alive.
Way to stop climbing.
Woo!
Carrier 94, Alpha cancellation received. Squawk V5 to advisories is approved. Just an obstruction tower light NOTAM, and that's it. We'll talk to you later.
Squawk V5, thank you, Carrier 94. Talk to you on the way back.
Maybe 23 was the ticket.
I know, right? I'm like, can we go wrong way at 23?
Yeah, if only we were going east.
San Salt Lake Center, citation 45 Mike Lima. We got the weather down there.
23 was nice on the way out, but then we were 21 over there. That was fine too.
Yeah.
Hold on the visual for runway 1445 Mike Lima.
Maybe it's just kind of bracketed, you know, like
we'll plan on the visual and
odds are fine and then events are trash.
Every other altitude has turbulence. It's like, what? Alright, we're holding 22. I mean, we'll just ride this for a while, because we are kind of on the edge of this weather system too, so as we get away from it,
November 102, Papa Golf, contact Salt Lake Center 127.75.
Still listening to
2775, 2 Pop Golf, see you.
do what?
Are you still listening to radio?
Yeah. I'm just listening to
Full
121.5.
Cruise Skywest 5344, we're at 4,200, climbing 5,000, direct nitro.
Skywest 5344, Salt Lake Center, welcome.
Center United 2855 level
45, 1025, would you
What
know?
is this that pops up?
No,
I just have
2855, Salt
the
Lake Center,
mouse
welcome.
hovered over an airport.
Oh, got it.
Salt Lake, Alaska 34350.
Alaska 34. Alaska 34, Salt Lake Center, welcome. Anything worse than light chop, let me know.
Very good, thank you.
I'm so excited for in and out when we get back.
Flight. You are cleared to
Yeah,
delay
anybody who is in the Boise area, the Town Square Mall in and out is now open, apparently. So we got an inside source to tell us.
Level 310,
Outside.
18 to 31.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Going
you
there
can change over
immediately
to
from the
tactical
airport.
frequency once you enter those confines.
And Turbo 71 flight cleared to delay in that Shelby and cut back from 18 to 310, switch to frequency with Southwest. Turbo 71 flight.
2 hours and 6 minutes. We're like making up time.
Yeah. Only a 12 knot headwind, so it's not nearly as bad as we thought.
It's forecast at 55.
Yeah.
Center United 2855
I mean,
level
that makes sense.
330.
It's just 33 of its cross.
Well, 4 flight will do that already.
At 2855,
Oh, really?
Salt Lake Center, welcome.
Well, 4 flight didn't do it very well.
Cargo jet 2384.
Well, I'll take it when they forecast it higher than it is.
Center 124.25.
I mean, you also take it when they forecast it lower.
Yeah, I don't have much of a choice, do I? You get all your emails answered?
Yeah, I did. It's such a smooth day up here. Look at that.
No, now it is nice and smooth. For the moment, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh yeah, it's okay if the passenger princess says it, but once the pilot says it, like SOL.
Center King, our 5610, sir, requesting an early start down because of the ground speed I got.
Oh, you want an early start down?
Our 561 Sierra, descend and maintain 6,000, Williston, altimeter 2974.
On a 6,02974, 10, sir, thank you, sir.
All right, you want to?
Citation 45 Mike Lima.
What you want to do for the next 2 hours?
You want to do a little
Lima, Africa,
Tour?
Tour, yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
1200, we'll
This is my cockpit.
There are many like it, but this is mine.
Dynasty 5314, contact.
I don't know. I think just like go through where everything's at, like an orientation, you know.
Well, we have 4 glass panels. The Honeywell system calls them display units. So they're DU 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they
How
can,
are they numbered, or how are they labeled? So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Interesting.
so they can,
Blue 434-350.
if one of them fails, you can reversionary, put everything else on the other one. So
Skywest 5669,
there's a lot of
I've got
lot of
different arrival
backups.
when you're ready.
Oh, how do you do that?
Ready, 5669.
So right here it says off and reversionary.
Hold on,
Skywest
I don't-
5659, you are cleared direct powder
Looks
for
like
the
the
powder
camera
1
can see
arrival into
that.
Bozeman, maintain
On
for
the
level
bottom.
360.
Direct powder for the powder 1, maintain 360, Scott.
So like if my screen went black, I would turn this knob
Salt Lake Center, good morning.
all the way
1880,
off and then
270.
past it to reversionary. Then it's going to
Flight jet 1680,
automatically
Salt Lake Center, welcome.
push my data onto a different screen, so I can have what's underneath this film screen somewhere else.
Flight jet
They also
1690,
have
Salt
on
Lake
here the
Center, welcome.
AGMs, which are kind of like our
Deadlight job.
picture generators, like the pixels of or the data to give me this information. So if those fails, we get a big red X across the screen, and then I go to AGM 2, which is our kind of our other card, and that would pull data from somewhere else, and then show that on my screen. So there's fail safes. And then we have our ESIS, our backup attitude indicator over here, and that's just
Center
independent.
Nancy
for all IFR airplanes
no
have that.
answer on 12832.
We have the whole keypad down here. Everything is pretty easy to use.
128.
And everybody has a little different setup. I like my moving map up top, and then I have kind of like my systems page down here. And this is our CAS system, crew alerting system. So we get warnings and cautions on there, and then we would go to the QRH and read what to do with them or do the memory item.
Salt Lake,
Although it
November
applies.
900.
Says there's no
Romeo
memory
Hotel,
items, so
4304.
there are some.
Or
that you just
900
have to
Romeo
know.
Hotel, Salt Lake Center, welcome.
Then we have our audio panel up here. So this is pretty standard for most planes people have flown. We just have COM 1 and 2. We have nav 1 and 2. We have ADF, PME. And then we also have our alerts here. So this is our, caution and warning lights that would come on with a CAS. And we'd also get an oral for different things. And then the overhead panel is just like fire warning, all of these different, so that's a test, systems test, all the different buses, lights are here, passenger signs.
So with obviously the audio panel, there's 2 of them, right? And they're just a mirror image of the 2.
Yeah.
But it goes up to 5, so you can have 5 radios.
Yeah, I've never seen more than 2 to the overhead panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so overhead panel is pretty simple. We just have system tests. Fuel pumps, this is sort of like Airbus logic where everything just lives on auto, and then the plane will do certain things in auto. So for example, fuel pumps on auto, and you may see this eventually, the fuel will auto balance, so that right fuel pump will automatically come on when there's a certain level of imbalance, and then that fuel from the right wing will be pushed to the engine, and so that'll level out the imbalance. Then the only time I really would turn fuel pumps on is if I had like a low fuel pressure issue or I was in heavy rain. I'm sorry, that's the ignition in heavy rain. So same thing with the ignition. Lives on auto and it comes on for like engine starting. If certain parameters of the engine fall, it would automatically come on to try to like restart the engine. Or you can turn the ignition on in heavy rain to try to prevent flame out. Then external lights, those are all pretty self-explanatory. Passenger signs. This is our so this is our backup power, emergency power supply, which is 30 minutes if you had a total electrical failure.
Back to the lights, the external lights. How do you, when do you do your checks on each one of those? Because you have specific minimums of when you make sure lights are on, right?
Yeah, so we just check them in pre-flight. Just power up the aircraft, turn them all on, and see what's working.
Well, for landing at each altitude or when do you turn them on?
I use mine, everybody has a different method. I mean, obviously in flight we have the nav beacon and the strobe on. The wing light is an ice check light, so that's for icing conditions at night. And it shines on my wing, so I can look at it and say whether we have ice or not. The taxi light, the landing light, and pulse light. This one, the pulse reclock, when I go below 10,000 feet, I turn that on.
Thank you.
The FAA has a program called Operation Lights On that's supposed to prevent near-mid-air collisions, and it's basically everybody turn your lights on if you're coming below 10. We're coming near the airport environment, essentially. So I turn that on. And it also is a good transference to like jet flying where you need to slow down below 250. So just doing something at 10,000 feet is just a good habit. Taxi light I use to turn on, so these are all LED. So I will turn this on when I'm cleared for an approach to help me remember. The gear may not be down, so it may not be showing outside, but these are LED, so it's not going to heat up in the wheel well. If you're in a plane where you don't have LED lights, you don't want to turn these on until you drop the gear.
Got it, because those are attached to the gear.
Correct. Yeah, and then I turn the landing light on when I'm cleared to land, and that way I can have it's just an automatic thing for me. If I forget or unsure of final, I can glance up and, confirm.
Okay, I'm cleared to land. Because you only touch that when you're cleared to land.
Exactly. And so that's like, there's a lot of people do that. It's just a good backup to have a flow that will trap errors, So if I'm cleared for an approach, then I can, descend on the approach and stuff like that. But if I'm not, then I'm like, oh, I need to sit here and wait till they give me a lower altitude, and then that's what I use the taxi light for. So, and then if I'm doing like a visual approach, like obviously if they're clearing me for visual, or if I'm flying VFR, I will just use those differently. If I'm flying VFR into like a different airport, then I'll just kind of put them on whenever I want. That's how I use the lights. Everything else is just different buses.
Hawker 816, my X-ray flight level 3.
Passenger warning, just what it shows back there, obviously.
Yeah, just seat belts and no smoking sign, which obviously we keep those on all the time. I mean, seatbelt we turn on and off, but nobody really seems to look at it. I have to brief them on it, on when to have their seatbelts on anyways, because they just get up whenever they want. What else do we have down here? If you were like passed out, how would I figure out where to go? Well, you have a nearest, you have a direct to, so you could always go direct to and then type in whatever airport you want to go to. and you could look on ForeFlight on my phone and pull up like the closest airport that looks suitable. You can also do info. So if I hit show info, it brings up this box, and then I can type in whatever I want to see. So I'll do this sometimes when the weather's really bad en route, and I want to know, like, not only, like, if I'm going to Boise, say, I want to go to Boise, and maybe it's right at minimums, and I'm, like, watching it on this 3-hour leg, and I'm, like, hoping I can creep in as it just goes, like, to 201 feet, you know? But Nampa is my alternate next door, which may sound crazy because they're like 20 miles apart or whatever, but it's such lower, so it's normally, you got 200 feet at Boise, then you get like 350 at Nampa. So I could go to like, let me check Nampa MAN, and I could see, even though it's not, you know, that would be in my flight plan because it's my alternate, but it brings me to it, then I can click it, and I can go to weather info, and I can see real time what it's doing. And I could see, like, is the ceiling trending up? What's the visibility? You know, so I'll do that a little bit in flight, and just kind of check on different points.
So how is this updating real time?
We have NexRad, so we have like satellite information basically that's pulling stuff. That's why we have radar and we have satellite overlaid right now too. Some little pockets of turbulence, I think, on this flight back.
Sunday Carrier 2020, I have the local scenic weather and not a...
Can you pull back the
the
power to drop the airspeed or lower the airspeed because that lowers the fault turbulence?
It's not necessarily, it is better to be slower through turbulence, but it's also, I like to cruise kind of like right under the tape. So if we go through turbulence, it can push the airspeed over the max. Or like if we're a mountain wave, it could overspeed. So I just will slow down, but it is good to just kind of slow down in turbulence anyway. Mountain wave is essentially like what it sounds like. It's waves of like turbulence. So usually over a mountain range, like on this flight back, we're going past like Billings and Bozeman, and you can almost tell where you are. You can almost navigate by the mountain wave, like. So you kind of will get like an increase and then a decrease. Like the plane will do this.
Increase or decrease of what? Pressure?
Of airspeed. So you'll see like an increase of airspeed and then a decrease. And the plane will like ride the wave up and down. Like you'll feel it.
Is that, what do you identify that? True airspeed or indicated airspeed?
Just indicated. So like right now, the autopilot's going to try to hold our altitude we've given it. So if we were in mountain wave, it's going to start pitching up to try to hold 22. And this does not have any stall protection right now as far as airspeed. So like I'm in altitude hold mode. If like, let's say I had the power at idle, the plane will just try to hold 22,000 feet until it stalls.
Oh, that's scary.
You know, so in cruise, like it's not...
It doesn't automatically kick off autopilot if it goes into a stall?
It will in a stall,
okay.
But it'll kick it off when you're in a freaking stall, you know? I mean, this plane has a pusher, so... That will push you down, but then, I mean, it's, you know, that would be a mess. Like, you're not going to want to do that. That's really out of control to go that far. So with mountain wave, same thing could happen. The plane's trying to hold 22, so if the wave really, like, picks the plane up, it's going to start pitching down to hold 22. Well, it's going to have a big increase in airspeed, you know? So when you're in turbulence, and turbulence will just fluctuate your airspeed because you're going through just, like, wind, a little bit of wind shear and stuff like that. So you just kind of bring the power back, give yourself a little margin of error under the tape. It's better for the airframe to be a little slower in turbulence. Obviously, if it was getting more turbulent, we need to go under our turbulence penetration speed, which is going to be 166 at empty, or at full gross. So we're probably 155.
59. Just confirm they're landing runway 12, and when you were on the sub-key 1, that's our standard runway 30 configuration. So runway 12 is the POW to 1.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify things. 659.
What else we got in here? Chart video brings up Jepson plates. Bring up our destination airport. If we had an approach we were going to do, like ILS Yankee runway 10 right, brings up the whole Jepson plate. You can roll around on this. So this is another set of
You want to go through that whole thing slower?
Yes.
We're off of Williston, climbing through 6,200
So if you need
IFR
a
to
plate
Delta
for an
India
approach,
Juliet.
go to chart video.
Citation 834
Okay.
Delta Charlie Solid, welcome.
It'll
Squawk
bring up
4354.
the Jepson plates
4354
or whatever is in
Charlie.
your flight plan. So I just selected Boise. We can go to Williston if we want. And then up top it has airport diagrams, it has SIDs, it has the approaches,
What's
whatever.
a SID?
Standard
And
instrument
citation 4
departure.
Delta Charlie.
So there's
heavy
the
radar
Williston
contact
6
there,
for Williston.
About 4 to 5 miles south.
We didn't
Clear to the Driggs
get that
Airport as
assigned
filed.
today or
Climb and
anything.
maintain flight level 320.
So Williston, we flew the RNAV for 14. This is the approach plate. I can also, I can split the, I can split it where I have the header or I have the profile view or I have the minimums, and if I want to see both of them,
Got it.
which normally I think a profile view.
And
but-
with these, so we went to the Josva.
yeah, we went to Josva.
So is that just where you enter the 45, or?
No, this is so instrument approach, the pattern doesn't matter. The traffic pattern would be over here, like around the airport.
Okay.
But the instrument approach is a whole different thing. So this is a 10-mile total, like straight in approach, runway 14. So Josva is just the initial fix, and it's just a GPS point. They're always 5 letters.
Got it.
I don't know who named it. You know, I don't know what a Zurag is. It's just a word.
So that's just where you turn in, and you're on the heading. So you could either go there, you can go to Zurag or
Well,
Tano.
you have to start.
Uno.
You generally start an instrument approach at an initial fix. So Josva is an initial fix. You can see it says IF next to it in the parentheses, and then so you want to basically get on an approach at an initial fix, and confirm that whatever you're using to navigate on that approach is correct. So if this was like a VOR approach, you're not going to turn 2 miles from the airport and be like, oh, I'm on the VOR radial. You have to get established on it out there and then follow it in for a while, you know? If you go to Josva, you'd be like, okay, the GPS worked. We captured Josva. We're at the right altitude. Like, and then you continue down the approach to the next point. The Zurag is the final approach fix, so from then, because it's an LBV, you'd be on the glide slope inbound to the runway. That's that is the chart video function. You also, when you go to chart video, get a composite view of some of your other things, so you can see exactly how many gallons are in each fuel tank, for example. So that's a good way to do that if you're looking for that information. We also have just our trim indications here for aileron, for rudder, and for pitch trim. Not much to look at out here. Pretty open.
What are you
flat
talking
lines.
about? I got plenty to look at
Ooh.
right here.
Baby, I'm so excited for in and out.
Yeah. Baby, going with that nipple.
Look good in black. Black is your color.
That's because I'm a fat ass and it's slimming.
Oh. No, you're not. Well, I'm bored. We got 2 hours to go.
Okay, the wind should shift, and then we'll only have an hour and a half.
Please. Because it says initial cruise altitude. I'm getting hot. I'm in the window.
Oh, baby, black. You look so good in black.
It's slimming, and I'm a fat ass. A hard life, you know.
November 501.
All right, what else were we talking about? Buttons.
Climb and maintain flight level 3.
Chart video, terrain inhibit. We inhibited that into Williston because Williston is not in the Honeywell database. So at 500 feet, we're going to get a terrain alert, which is ridiculous. I don't know why Honeywell can't put it in the system. It's an international airport that's been there for like years. Any hoodle. Then we have transponder. You can type in a code. COM, you can change the frequency.
21 Kilo, Salt Lake Center, welcome Williston, altimeter 2974.
2974, thank you, 2 Kilo. Salt Lake, Sun Country 171 with you, 390.
Let's see.
Sun Country 171, Salt Lake Center, welcome.
Hill.
How about all the gauges on the panel?
Okay, well we have our airspeed, we have our altitude, we have our navigation, or navigating off of FMS right now, which is computer or GPS, you know. Change your nav source, but I'm not going to do that because it's going to dump everything out. We could navigate off of a VOR here or whatever. But we are GPS navigating to Barner. And then we have our wind indications here. We got a headwind and a crosswind, which you can change the settings on that if you just want the headwind indication. We got a ground speed at true speed, outside air temperature.
Where's that at?
Ground speed, true airspeed, outside air temperature is -32, and then our RMP probability, which is RMP approaches or GPS approaches, which are normally curved, and they can get you kind of more into like tighter terrain areas. But you have to have a probability of like your calculation to fly them.
Morning Care 117, just off Glendive.
And what else do we have? This whole side panel, 50 controller, is our nav select nav preview. So I can pull up, I can preview something else. Like I'm previewing a localizer frequency right now that I have tuned in there. Okay, previewing a VOR frequency. Nav select is going to change my source, so I don't want to do that. We also have a couple needle options. So if you want to needle, like you're flying an NDB or something, we can do like the localizer needle. We have an ADF needle right now. So if I wanted to put in like if I'm flying an NDB approach, I do it off GPS, but I also have my ADF needle and the NDB frequency down here in my ADF window. We can select what we want to pull DME off of. We have additional needle options if you like different styles.
When you're talking about needles, where is that just showing up on the...
Yeah, it's hard to see because it's like right underneath my pink arrow.
Oh, I see it.
But you see how like, and right now, like it's FMS needle, so if you like a needle, like you're like, I like an old school like VOR needle or whatever, but you want it to show up, that's what it would look like, you know, but I have it underlaid right now under my pink, my magenta GPS navigation source. Oh. So it's the same
Alaska 2,
path, so it doesn't make sense.
72 Mike.
And then the VOR and NDB are not coming up because they're not grabbing anything.
Yeah.
Let me get through this turbulence real quick.
Yeah. Oh, autopilot. Walk me through the autopilot. Oh, and then afterwards do this. All the
yeah, we got the yoke on the Pilatus is like a little much.
Yeah, it's like a fighter pilot, a fighter jet.
A little overdone. This is our trim.
Okay.
This in conjunction with pulling the trigger. You have to pull the trigger and trim.
Okay.
Which is weird.
So if you just touch the trim by itself, it won't do anything?
But if you trim anything, it'll turn the autopilot off.
Got it.
So, I mean, we can do it, but it'll just kick. If I pull the trigger and do that, it'll kick the autopilot off.
So if you don't pull the trigger and hit the trim, does it? It
shouldn't. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Yeah. Pusher interrupt button. So we have a pusher system on this aircraft, so if it malfunctioned and it just started going, we're going to hold that, and then we could pull the circuit breakers, which are collared. Yeah. This is our push to talk.
Yeah.
This is another autopilot disconnect. So any of the trims, but then that's also an autopilot disconnect. This one is in-op. This one is our map light. And then this is the intensity of the map light, so that's a map light.
Okay, I had a couple calls, only at Williston. Go ahead, just a minute.
Yes, touch control steering momentarily interrupts the autopilot.
What does?
Touch control steering. So if I, like, sometimes we'll get this
go rack up to flight level 200, then Regina.
Autopilot servo malfunction on the tail. It's very common in Pilatuses. And you'll be sitting here and it like trims up, trims down, trims up, trims down, in through there. Which is number one an indication that you could be about to get a trim runaway. So instead of just running the trim motor, you can hit the TCS and just let it like right now it's like, okay, stop. So you see it says TCS. It's not listening to the autopilot anymore. I'm able to hand fly the airplane, and then if I release it again, autopilot's back on, and now it's trying to climb back to the altitude.
171, Salt Lake Center, welcome. Let me know when you get the latest weather there at Williston, approach requesting.
Well, you just got the weather and visual 14% country west, anyone?
It's interesting though that it's on the right side, so you have to be like...
You have to be pretty intentional about it.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's why they put it there. So the yoke is it's a little aggressive. So you gotta kind of figure out like, Especially like right now, I'm sure people are...
Contact Salt Lake Center 127.75, 2775.
2775 plus. Center Pilatus flight level 220.
Into Bozeman, I have a new routing, if you're able to copy. Call standby.
No.
Blocked. Sorry.
Center, was that last call for Scott 5659? Scott 5659, affirmative. They are just changing the runways on us. Expect runway 30, and I have a new routing. Advise ready to copy. Ready to copy, 5659.
My bad.
Exit jet 5659, you're clear to the Bozeman Airport via direct sub-key for the sub-key 1 arrival. And you are clear to descend via the sub-key 1 arrival. Roger, cleared Bozeman via sub-key 1.
What mountains are those?
Sub-key 1, Sky was 5659.
Let's see.
No.
Just confirm for that
For
routing.
flight.
Sub-key 1 for Sky
The
West.
big snowy mountains.
The big
For
snowy
Skywest.
mountains, huh?
That's what it's called.
659, Sky
Wow.
5659,
Well, that's a-
affirmative. Thank you.
The descriptive name.
Yeah.
Wow. What is it?
The big snowy mountains.
The big snowy mountain.
Center Pilatus flight level 220.
November, Salt Lake Center, Roger.
So multiple ways to change the frequencies. One, you can just do big knob, little knob on whatever's highlighted. But a lot of people, I like this function too. You have to hit COM, type it in, and then enter again. We'll switch it. So it's just
November 74 Bravo Alpha, contact Salt Lake Center 124.35. Salt Lake, Alaska 358.
This
level
Varner, is that
310.
like your waypoint to avoid mountains?
no, it's just our routing. It's just a GPS point. They just like us to go through Barner to get into Boise for whatever reason.
Alaska 358. Salt Lake
I don't really
City,
know why they don't just give us direct. It's like
yes, that's
the
point
same.
level 310.
But they always like that. Go to Barner, then go to Boise.
King Air 509 Delta Alpha.
So it's
Salt Lake
that
Center,
same
squawk 0513,
5 letters,
and
some,
you're off
you know. They try to make a word, but some kind of word, I don't know.
This Stark?
Lightning strike distance.
Oh.
But we don't have lightning. It's just like, this is the range you would...
Cows 5079, contact Denver Center 133.67.
13367, Cows 5079.
Cows 5919, contact Salt Lake Center 124.35.
This is our environmental window. So it shows the airport that we have programmed in the FMS. That airport's elevation, our cabin altitude, and then our rate of change.
November 509 Delta Alpha, radar
So
contact, 8 miles
575 is our
west
max.
of Coast,
That's our
clear
basically
to
pressure
the
differential
airport,
that it can
maintain
hold between
flight level
inside outside.
266,
Cabin
stay
rate,
altitude.
which is 0 right now, wouldn't make sense. We're level, you know, it's not doing anything. And then these are different temperatures, so cabin and cockpit. And you can just change those with the soft keys next to them. Or you can click these buttons and move them up and down. Fuel window. I'm not going to hit fuel reset because it's going to clear out how much we've used, and we report that to our accounting department. But it has our total fuel quantity, fuel flow,
Exit at 780, contact
what
Salt
our
Lake,
endurance is at that fuel flow, and then how much we've used.
118.07.
And then we have the different fuel tanks here, and they're in fourths, you know, and left and right. And we can just kind of see that throughout the flight.
The autopilot?
Oh, yeah. This is our autopilot controller. So you can have the data come off your side or off my side. If you hit that, it's going to turn everything off and switch it because it's switching where it's getting its data.
Oh, got it. Because, like, for example, my airspeed is 189 and yours is 187. So
Correct, because we're pulling from different ATCs.
Atahas, that's
So
such
that's
a
us.
fun word. Atahas! Atahas! Okay, I'm reaching my limit too.
Oh, we got an hour and a half, baby.
Contact Salt Lake Center 124.35.
So
Oh, hold on. Let's look at them big snowy mountains.
they're big and snowy, baby.
Ba, ba, ba. Look at my big snowy mountains.
Tower 4851, Salt Lake Center, roger.
Oh, I mean, as mountains go, those really aren't that
They're
big.
pretty small, especially
Yeah.
compared to like what we're about to cross.
Ooh, that's ominous.
Bum, bum, bum.
Ba, 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 ba. That's how PilotKaity talks to her husband when we get in a fight.
What?
Not nearly as bad as what you're about to cross, boy.
Center, this is Rico 26 checking in.
Don't ever
Rico
fight, baby.
26, Salt Lake Center, stay altitude.
Salt Lake Center, we are passing flight level
Just little sparring bouts.
We're soulmates.
Pew pew. Yeah, we're pretty
Love
dang.
each other.
Yeah. We also respect each other.
I do. I respect you very much.
Oh, caught on camera. That's going to be a highlight reel.
I do. I do respect you very much.
Rico 26, roger.
I mean, this is Rico.
I feel privileged to be the person that gets to know you better than
This
anybody
is
else.
Rico 2.
Maybe cut that out. How's your bladder doing?
Salt Lake, Alaska, 312 question.
Oh, it's pretty good. How's your bladder doing?
Pretty good, which means I'm dehydrated.
Ooh, bad girl. That's a fun
What are-
cloud.
It is a very nice cloud.
Yeah, 26.
Things we talk about an hour
Roger.
of flight.
312, that's classified. Yeah, that's a Q4.
Autopilot, the different autopilots. Just go through
Okay.
each button.
So these are minimums, which is like minimums for the approach. So we can set.
307 Julie Alpha, Salt Lake Center, advisor seat.
I feel like I have like a hair on my mouth.
Information echo. Expect ILS to runway 19.
You can just set that. It'll show up on your screen here. So like right now it's in radar altimeter. But if I kind of push it, like a half push turn, it'll switch to baro, which is what we want because baro is like off of your altimeter. You know, like it's your actual altimeter altitude instead of like radar altimeter is just kind of sensing the ground. But anyways, we do baro. So like if the approach minimums are like 3,060 feet, we'd set that, and then at that point it's gonna say out loud minimums. You know, so I could be like, oh, I need to go miss because I can't see anything.
Rico 26, got check in, thanks.
So you can just do that.
Delta 508, Salt Lake Center, check in.
You can't turn it off now once it's on.
Thank you.
So we have that for the rest of the flight. Heading, so these are just lateral navigation, means heading or track. You can switch between track or heading.
So you can't turn off minimums once you...
Correct.
What do we have minimums at?
I just set
300.
the ILS for Boise.
Oh.
So switch between heading and track.
312, I don't know if you
and
got
then
that
control
one. That Q4.
This is white right now, so like we're not doing anything with that,
Yeah,
you know?
and then if you pressed it in, it would
If I
turn
select
magenta.
heading, it will now start navigation. Like, so I hit heading, we're navigating off of a heading right now.
Then you go back to nav.
If I go back to nav, it's going to reselect
3834, Salt Lake Center, welcome.
Varner, and now it's going to capture it when it's magenta. And now this is white, and this doesn't do anything, you know?
Yeah.
And you can see we're on nav mode, or we were on heading mode before.
WestJet 2288.
Then you have your vertical options, so VNAV, speed, and vertical speed. VNAV is going to be just like a GPS method of, you know, calculating your rate of descent and then pulling you down.
126.85.
Speed mode is going to climb or descend on a speed.
Dang, we got a 60 knot headwind, baby.
I know. Switch it around.
Ah, la, 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 la.
Vertical speed is climbing or descending on a vertical speed. We're in altitude hold mode right now. This is our altitude selector. We can roll it up and down. Autopilot yaw in. Flight director, which is our pink like guidance in the background.
Pink or magenta?
Magenta. And then this is like your side, my side. This is called a bank limiter. So if you would like to not turn at a 30-degree bank, then you can go bank limiter. And it will not like...
Have you ever used that?
Yeah.
Multiple transmitters.
You know, 30 degrees of bank feels like a lot, honestly, when your passengers are in there. So especially at higher altitudes, I'll use it. And then, like, you can see what it looks like. So... Never mind. Maybe you have to be turning to get...
Call upon 12,
I don't know. We'll try it down lower when we're turning. But it basically just gives you like little brackets,
November
and then it's gonna
601,
stay in that instead of like you saw
Center,
earlier when they kind of directed us to Barner.
Yeah.
It goes, and it's like, that's kind of a lot, you know?
Or maybe it just, you have to have like a turn in the system where it's
I
like,
think that's what it is.
you're going straight.
Yeah, it's like, you're not.
I literally can't limit your bank anymore.
Yeah. But what else? Oh, on the cursor control device here, this right mouse will like click the mouse around the screens. I used to do that a lot. Now I just use the arrows because it's way faster about which screen I want to be on. You can swap these MFD pages. I don't like that. Looks so weird to me though. A lot of pilots fly like this, and I'm just like, I can't do it. Like it looks so strange to me.
1955 CS 52.
But that's like what I'm just used to. You can do. This is our brightness for each screen. So that's actually still on, but it's just like very low. But if I turned it even more, I would actually turn the screen off, and that would go into reversionary mode. So in the daytime, they're generally all the way up. This is like my nighttime setting is actually about like that, which at night is kind of perfect.
Yeah.
So, and then we also have cockpit lighting here, which this is like backlights, you know, lettering, and then like this, and then we have an overall light that kind of just brings up in the cabin so you can see. Pretty good system. I really like the lighting system. Like the CJ4. CJ4 is so dark. It's like you're like, what do we use for? There's like one little red light right here that just like looks on stuff, but there's like no cockpit lighting.
That's so weird.
It's very odd.
Is that primarily a Garmin system, or?
That's, well, this is more like Pilatus did this. The avionics is just, you know, Honeywell. So that's more like a citation thing, I think, like a Cessna.
Cessna, what are you doing?
I don't know. The lighting in the CJ4.
They got to save costs somewhere to
Maybe so.
try to make them more affordable.
No lighting.
It's because if you're flying a CJ4, you better be a pretty dang good pilot, so you don't really need lighting at that. You can just fly by feel.
Or like fly in the dark.
Lima 37, so like
tactical.
Be advised, got a Navy 375 on a different
Maybe
frequency.
we'll take a tour of the bathroom.
Do you need to go?
The YouTube family. Do you have to
Navy
pump it?
You gotta clean it if you use it.
Yeah.
All times, Navy Lima 375.
I'll show you how to do it, but you gotta do it if you pee in it.
Piss in a bottle.
It's probably honestly cleaner
Yeah.
and less of a nasty
On upon 1-2, contact Salt Lake Center 132.
What have we been talking about now?
That's a YouTube video. How to clean out the bathroom in a Pilatus.
Yeah,
Watch, that's one that goes viral. And
it would be
Singapore
gross.
7952, contact Salt Lake Center 124.35.
What's our series where dirty little secrets of me like cleaning the plane and cleaning out the bathroom? That's the thing. People are going to be like, that's why I would never be a corporate pilot. And it's like, yeah, my 1 day a week I work. Totally. Yeah, horrible that I had to do that for 6 seconds, you know?
I know.
It's like,
The
who
one
cares?
time probably ever that I had to clean out the toilet.
I know. I've done it once, maybe twice since I've been here. And it's like, who cares? You put some gloves on and you put it all in a bag. It's like,
Right?
we're home creatures, baby.
Ugh,
We have
well,
our Harry Potter and your bidet. And our pumpkin bread and our snort.
So you just said magic, 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 magic.
That was good. That was really good. Baby, you're funny.
Get one a day.
I'm glad we got married.
Glad we got married too.
Like being your wife.
Oh, for the YouTube family, comment below. I have a whole series of edited reels that we could post of our pre-marriage dating.
Our 2 weeks into our dating, where we were talking about getting
our
married.
flight series.
It's actually not that funny. It's just that we think we're funny because we were like,
Did you watch it?
No.
It's pretty dang funny. I was like,
I should post them. I'll post them on Instagram and TikTok.
I was rizzing them with the tism.
It worked, baby.
Yeah,
Here we are.
I was laying on thick.
We've always enjoyed flying together.
Oh yeah, I made all these promises, and then I'm like, oh crap, this lady is way out of my league, and
No way.
I had to up my game up a lot to make her think that I'm cool, and then
You're perfect, baby.
I don't want to go that far. My beard could be a little bit fuller.
No, I like your beard. I like the way it's...
I just wish it was like Alright, you heard it here first, YouTube. We're in love. All you dumb guys commenting about how hot my wife is in a tank top, you can...
That was weird. I think like a tank top, like what is up with a tank top? I'm like, I have no cleavage showing at all. It's like a shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, is this Saudi Arabia? Like, it's literally a shoulder, and people are like,
Yeah,
I could never fly with that broad.
Baby,
and it's like, what?
Your shoulders are dang fine, you know?
I lift my weights.
Ooh.
Baby, please cut this out. Oh my god.
And November 07 Juliet Alpha, you say again your...
I wish it wasn't true! Baby, cut it. Just do it. Cut it all. Cut it all.
Yeah.
November 307 Juliet Alpha,
Woo.
Roger. Just lost
Maybe.
You want to put in our...
Your flush.
I believe.
You want to put in our ATIS for Boise?
Yeah.
You want to do comms or anything?
Squawking 4346.
Center, Pilatus. Flight level 220.
Salt Lake Center, good morning.
Good morning. It is now... Oh yeah, it's now morning. It's mountain time.
Yeah.
This is nice, a nice day with like the quick turnaround because we get back like almost 2 hours earlier. So that's the same, the next one is gonna be another same handoff. The next one is gonna be 128.05. So he's gonna say to you, a lot of contact Salt Lake Center 128.05, and you're gonna just say 128.05, and then you can just swap and then do the check-in again.
So I don't have to say Pilatus or the November. I can
The perfect answer is Pilatus. It's the manufacturer and the full number. Then you'll be on with Salt Lake. It's still Salt Lake Center, just in a different sector. So then on 128.05, you can say Salt Lake Center, Pilatus, flight level 220.
To switch over, I just hit this comm button
Yeah.
here, and it'll switch.
Yeah, you can try it right now if you want and just flip-flop.
Flip, flop,
Yeah.
flippity, floppity.
Is it?
I flipped it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good to go. Yeah, this was very confusing to me at first. I'm like, which one am I talking on? Because to me, this off to the left is in the background. You know, it's the standby, but the standby is the blue. Like, my initial thought when I looked at it was like, that's the primary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's weird because yours is the same, so yours makes sense and mine doesn't.
Yeah. I think it's just
You
because
know?
it's closer to the middle of the panel,
Yeah.
and this one it's like
Yeah.
on the outside. But
Right.
if they flipped it, it would be like...
Yeah, it would make sense. I don't know. It's just weird.
But then it wouldn't be uniform.
Yeah, that would be worse, I'm sure. So they,
Good morning.
I'm sure they talked through all those and they were like, this is the best option.
At this point, we were about 2 hours and 40 minutes into the flight, and we started the descent into Boise. There's always clouds and ice over the mountains in the winter, so that's what we started to descend into over the Sawtooth Mountains, which are just north of Boise. For whatever reason, the audio did not pick up on the rest of this video, which kind of sucks. Matthew was doing the comms and he did a great job, so I wish you guys could hear that. But as you'll see, we were picking up a decent amount of ice down through this cloud layer, and actually I reported this as moderate icing because you can kind of see it's a thick layer on the wing. It's not building up too much onto the boot, like covering the whole boot, but it was building up fast. It was a thick layer, and actually why I reported moderate was because it was covering a lot of the front windshield, and it was sticking to the prop so much that I could feel it start to aerodynamically affect the airplane, and it was throwing off huge chunks of ice. So I reported moderate, told it to approach so that they could let other pilots know. But it's kind of cool to see in this clip how the boots actually work. So this was actually helping. They were removing it. Sometimes I've seen the boots not be great, but this time they were working pretty good, and it's usually because it's building up kind of faster, so it actually has a lot to blow off. We also were descending at a very high airspeed, which helps because you're just kind of pushing all the ice off as well. But as you can see from the blue sky peeking through, it really wasn't that thick of a layer, so it was like maybe 15 to 10,000 feet, and then we kind of got out of it into this kind of sky where it was like little cloud layers but not quite as thick. So you'll notice now we're kind of out of the worst of the icing conditions. It really does kind of stop right at the edge of the foothills normally as we go into the valley. The weather changes, and that's what happened today. So we got a little closer to Boise, and it really cleared up nicely, and we actually were expecting the visual approach for runway 10 left. I had the LPV approach in the background just as an additional safety measure, but we were just getting vectored for the visual at this point. As a side note, YouTube videos are just a fun little hobby of mine. Matthew enjoys it as well. He does all my video editing, if you cannot tell. Some of these show his sense of humor, but we really appreciate the comments. People have said what they'd like to see more of or different pointers to help improve the videos. So additional camera angles was one of the big ones. And so we did buy another camera, and we're kind of showing multiple angles throughout this flight. So hopefully that is a bit of an improvement, but we really we are open to that feedback. So if you have anything that you'd like to say about this video, please leave it in the comments. I read all of them personally, and then we do try to improve the video quality from that feedback. So we appreciate it. This is all just about the fun of aviation, sharing that with other people, hopefully spreading some knowledge, maybe showing what I'm passionate about and giving back to the aviation community. So helping make these videos better quality is a huge part of that you guys can be involved in. So at this point, we're on final for runway 10 left, and we're just kind of descending still. I had already put the gear down. You can see the 3 green indication there, and Matthew was doing the radio transmission back to the tower of clear to land. So we are a few seconds from landing here and done with a very long 3-hour leg. Normally, I like to land with flaps at 30. So the Pilatus has 15, 30, and 40 degrees. I kind of use 30 as a standard normal landing, but we did have ice on the airframe still. So under that condition, we are limited to a flaps 15 approach. So we're coming in a bit faster than we would normally, and we just put the flaps to 15 because we have ice on the wings still. So that is a limitation on the Pilatus. So how was my landing? Rate it between 1 and 5 and put it in the comments. I put the taxi diagram up on my phone when I land, and that's just a technique that I use that I prefer from ForeFlight. So that's what I have mounted there on my left side of the window panel. And then we basically just taxi in, write down our fuel numbers so we can keep those for accounting, and put the plane away for the night. So like I said, let me know if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, feedback. Put it in the comment section of this video and we will read it personally. I read all of them and reply to all of them. So I really appreciate that feedback. Thanks for watching, guys. This was a bit longer one just because we kind of wanted to show you the real-time experience with less editing and kind of get the full experience. Kind of a fun, different way to do it. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching, and as always, fly safely.